Welcome back to Power CEOs, the truth behind the business. Before the break, we were talking with Pedro Herre, founder and CEO of Mad Events Media, about his achieving that goal, that success that he had set in his mind, and realizing that he missed the mark. A spiritual journey later, I'm here to continue the conversation. What happened after you found these mentors, when you found your business mentor, if you will?
Yeah, well, I think I just want to take one step back and just say that when I ended up taking this trip overseas, I ended up meeting this couple and specifically this guy. His name was Chris. And I told him a bunch about me, and eventually he asked me, I asked him about himself. And I asked him, hey, what do you do? And I had told him about my Tony Robbins background and stuff like that. And he basically said, I help people who are ready to wake up, wake up.
Wow.
And I was like, what's that? I was so naive at the time. At that time in my life, I was just all business, like all head. And his next answer was like, it's kind of just like the next level from where you are now. And it's like the perfect answer that anyone could have ever given me to like make me lean into something that made absolutely no sense to me at all. Fast forward, eventually ended up meeting my business mentor. And this was just 8 years ago. And his name is Yanik Silver. And Yanik had just finished writing a book called Evolved Enterprise. And he's sitting right next to me at a business mastermind. And he handed me an early copy of his book. He was speaking at the mastermind. And inside of it, he said, here's to the future of doing business. And literally what that book gave me was a new pair of glasses in which to see the world. And I've never seen business ever the same ever since then. He would say things like, he would say things along the lines of like, write the business love story that you want the world to buy. I never thought of business that way. It's like you just kind of come up with a message that resonates with somebody and then, you know, hopefully they buy it, right? And he just had these philosophies, almost like a business philosopher, and just kind of like, just like went deep into my heart. And I was like, and I literally felt like the energy like bubbling up inside of me. And if I was reading this, and I was like, I never want to do business the same way ever again. He highlighted companies like Patagonia and Tom Shoes and Allbirds and all these different companies. And he showed how businesses can stand for something more than just the products and services that they sell. I didn't know that was possible, right? And he showed me that it was possible. And that's led to so much of like my current drive and my current vision. Like currently I have a vision over the next 10, 20 years that I want to donate $1 billion to charity through a greater ecosystem that is being formed, you know? I think there's two ways that you really have a difference. Either you do it with your dollars and you can align your businesses with your dollars. But the other way is by influencing culture, which is why marketing and branding are such key components of what you're building. Like through just existing, a company like Patagonia has made more of a difference on, you know, climate change than organizations that's all they do, right? Or any government initiative or anything like that.
And why is that?
When you connect with a brand like that, there's a certain level of resonance that it holds, a certain level of frequency that when you encounter it, if you're ready, you'll never be the same again, because it expands your awareness into an identity that you already desire to live into, but no one has invited you into. And that's what branding does when it's done at the highest level. And now their slogan is, we're in business to save our home planet. Oh, we just happen to be a company that sells clothing. Resonance.
Yes.
Resonance. How can we make our brands vibrate? When you come across a brand that vibrates, it changes you.
It absolutely does. And what it does is it magnetically pulls you in, and there is no selling involved when it comes to that. If you are in resonance with a brand, that creates that brand insistence. That's brand ambassador, if you will, the people who shout from the rooftops that, hey, come with me, and builds that sense. And and you're building that with what you're doing and your vision. So talk to me a little bit about what does that look like when we're bringing that into the event space.
Uh, it's just creating a bigger vision for what you're doing, right? It's like anything in life, like you can just do events or you can do events that stand for something more. It's like I just want to make this broad for everybody
Mm-hmm.
in addition to events. It's like you can do whatever you're doing or you can play bigger,
Mm-hmm.
right? And usually every time that I have found that I have become passive in anything that I'm doing in life is because my vision is not compelling enough.
Mm.
It sounds good, but it's not really that compelling.
It's
It's
not
not,
getting you out of bed in the morning ready to go.
well, not only that, but it's hard to like, if you're ever having trouble like acquiring allies in your journey and like people who to support you on your journey, it's like chances are your vision just isn't big enough. So
Mm.
people don't want to help you.
But a lot of people think very small. They don't believe that they can dream bigger or think bigger or have that bigger vision because of where they come from or who they are. How would you advise them to what would you advise them to do so that they could start to crack open that shell?
I think one is just getting around people who think differently. I truly believe that your environment shapes you. So when I met Yanik for the first time 8 years ago, he dropped a pebble into my pond of water
Mm-hmm.
that has infinitely rippled through meeting that human in my lifetime. And but if I didn't put myself in an environment to be in a position to meet him, it would have never happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then his book was the next thing. But I think the way I think because of who I surround myself with, right? And so I would encourage people just to like really evaluate their environment, right? If you're around people who are inspired and who want to change the world and want to do big things and feel a sense of conviction for what is it that they're creating, you can't help but be inspired. You can't help but think bigger. You can't help but start to become that and operate from that frequency. And so I can't take any credit other than I feel like I've surrounded myself in the right people. But then I think the other side of things is like at some point you get to a place in your life where it's less about what you want from life, and now it's more of like what does life want from you?
Mm-hmm.
And you combine the two together, and there's that middle point of what you're here to do, your purpose, and the ways that you're meant to give your gifts in the world.
And you have one heck of a purpose that you're showing up. You and I have talked about quite a few things that you're doing. We have just a few more minutes, and we have a wide audience. We have an audience of entrepreneurs, executives, on purpose entrepreneurs, people who maybe have a traditional business who would like to become that purpose led, purpose driven brand. What haven't we covered? What do you wish people would ask you that they never do?
Oof, that's a big question. Um, I don't know if I know the answer to that, but what I will say is that um, I'm a guy who I grew up in the Bronx in New York City, and I've always known ever since I was a little kid that all I needed, I didn't need anyone to give me anything. Like I just literally needed an opportunity. And if you're watching and like you're feeling maybe like, oh, I don't know what my next move is or how I'm supposed to like play bigger at this stage of my life, like I really just want to encourage you to like just wake up, just like wake up, look at yourself in the mirror and like is this all that you're really truly here to give? And I really have this fundamental belief in life that everything that we want in life, the relationships we want, the businesses that we want, the people we want to work with, the bodies that we want in life, like that all lives on the other side of one word, and it's generosity. And then the question becomes like, how generous? Like, if you don't have what you want in life, right? If you don't have the relationships that you want in life, then how generous are you being in your relationships? If you don't have the business that you want, then how generous are you being in your business? If you don't have the people that you want, then how generous are you being with the people in your life? How about your relationship in all these other areas? And, it's a confronting question, but if you're willing to lean into that a little bit and be okay with that discomfort, then I think you might find something really powerful that might start to grow in you to create something amazing.
Ooh, I've got chills. I love everything that you said. I truly come from that space too. When we give and we find that giving inside of ourselves, it can't help but come back in ways that we can't even imagine half the time. And when we meet with other people who are in that space, it's almost like magic happens. I don't want to say that word too much on the air, but it really does. When you surround yourself by people who are vibing higher, who have big visions, who are big thinkers, solving big problems, who are collaborating together for a bigger purpose, something greater than ourselves, it's almost like magic happens. It just does. And it's because we let go of all of the things anchoring us to who we were, and it allows us to step into the next level. Thank you for sharing that. It was super powerful. We are getting close to our break, but how can people reach out to you if they'd like to learn more about either your companies or some of the things that you're doing, entrepreneurship on purpose? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so madeventsmedia.com, that's where you can learn all about what we're doing in the event space. So that's one way to do it. I can read a little bit about our story and who we work with and our big mission. And also, I would encourage people to, if the whole on purpose stuff really resonates with them, then I also wrote a manifesto at businessofintegrity.com. It's about a 10,000 word manifesto that talks about this type of doing business in this way, and also provides a bit of a playbook on how people can get started and why I think that this is the future.
I think that's fantastic. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. It's so fun.
Absolutely. You heard it. Definitely reach out to Pedro. He is doing amazing things. He has quite a wealth of experience behind him and can really help you to take that next step and get to that next level. We do have to take a brief break, but we'll be right back after these messages.